Reckoning Dawn. The Earth spaceship Reckoning cut through the silence of deep space, its sleek hull absorbing starlight rather than reflecting it. At 2 kilometers long, the experimental warship represented humanity's greatest achievement and its most desperate gamble. Captain Elena Reeves stood at the viewport, her reflection ghosting against the backdrop of stars. 38 years old with steel-gray eyes that matched the streaks in her otherwise black hair, Elena carried the weight of her mission in the set of her shoulders. The Reckoning wasn't just the most powerful warship humans had built, it was potentially the last. "Captain, all systems are operational," reported Commander Jackson Way, her executive officer. "Quantum drives functioning at 97% efficiency." Elena nodded without turning from the viewport. "And how are our passengers?" Way hesitated. "The science team is still analyzing the data from the Proxima incident. Dr. Chen hasn't left the lab in 20 hours. Tell her I want preliminary findings by 800. We can't afford to waste time." "Yes, Captain." When Way left, Elena finally turned away from the stars. The bridge of the Reckoning hummed with quiet efficiency. Her crew, the best of Earth's unified military forces, working with practiced precision. They all knew the stakes. Humanity had spent generations believing they were alone in the universe, only to discover they were merely overlooked. Until now. The holographic display at the center of the bridge activated, projecting a swirling galaxy map. 7 planets marked in red pulsed ominously, all Earth-like worlds, all recently destroyed. "Update from long-range sensors, Captain," called Lieutenant Amara Okafor from the tactical station. "We've picked up debris consistent with our previous findings. It's definitely another terraformed world." 8 planets. Then, something was systematically destroying worlds that harbored life similar to Earth's. "Distance to intercept point?" Elena asked. "Approximately 19 hours at current velocity," Okafor replied. Elena studied the map. Whatever's doing this follows a distinct pattern. It's not random destruction. It's methodical, calculating. She traced a finger along the projected course, and it's heading directly toward Earth. The bridge fell silent at her words. Everyone had seen the images, once thriving planets reduced to fractured shells, oceans vaporized, atmospheres stripped away. Not just bombed or burned, but fundamentally broken at a molecular level. "Dr. Chen is requesting your presence in the laboratory, Captain," the ship's AI announced, its voice deliberately calming. In the depths of the Reckoning, the research lab bustled with activity. Dr. Mai Chen, head of xenobiology, looked up from a complex display of molecular structures when Elena entered. Dark circles underlined her eyes. "Captain, I think we found something," she said without preamble. "The residual energy signatures we detected at the Proxima site. They're unlike anything in our databases. Not radiation, not plasma. Something else entirely." Elena approached the display. "Can you identify it?" "We believe it's a form of quantum disruption field. It doesn't just destroy matter. It unravels it. Breaks down the fundamental forces holding atoms together. Weaponized entropy," Elena murmured. Chen nodded grimly. "Whatever we're chasing has technology centuries beyond ours. But there's something else." She pulled up another display showing wave-like patterns. "We detected these communication signals. They're encrypted, but the pattern suggests intelligence, not random destruction. You're saying we're dealing with sentient beings making a conscious choice to destroy these worlds?" "Yes. And Captain, based on the propagation pattern, we believe they've been doing this for thousands of years. We found evidence in astronomical records suggesting similar planetary destruction as far back as our instruments can detect." Elena's hand clenched. "Why? What possible reason could any species have for systematically destroying life-bearing planets?" "That's what we need to find out," Chen said quietly. 18 hours later, the Reckoning hung in the shadow of a massive gas giant, sensors at maximum sensitivity. The debris field of what had once been a verdant, life-bearing moon drifted nearby. "The latest victim. Contact," Lieutenant Okafor announced suddenly, bearing 242 Mark 38. It's massive. The main screen activated, revealing a shape that seemed to defy conventional design. Not a ship so much as a shifting, geometric construct that absorbed light rather than reflected it. It moved with impossible grace for its size, which sensors estimated at roughly 5 kilometers in length. "Are they detecting us?" Elena asked. "Negative, Captain. Our stealth systems are holding." "They appear to be," Okafor frowned. "They're gathering fragments of the destroyed moon, collecting samples." "Now we know why the debris fields were smaller than expected," Wei muttered. "They're taking pieces with them." Elena studied the alien vessel. It showed no obvious weapons, no conventional propulsion systems she could identify. But the sheer alien nature of it chilled her. This wasn't just different technology. It was different thinking. "Launch a stealth probe," she ordered. "Let's get a closer look before we—" "Captain." Okafor's voice sharpened. They'd stopped. "I think they've detected the gravitational influence of the reckoning." The alien vessel halted its collection operation. Then, with frightening suddenness, it pivoted toward their hiding place behind the gas giant. "They know we're here," Elena said calmly. "Battle stations." Red alert klaxons wailed throughout the ship. Crew members raced to their positions as weapon systems powered up. The reckoning had been built for this moment. Humanity's first, and possibly last line of defense against an existential threat. "They're moving toward us," Wei reported, emerging from the shadow of the gas giant in 30 seconds. Elena took her command chair, expression resolute. "Hold position. Let's see what they do when they get a good look at us." The alien vessel approached with unnatural speed, then stopped abruptly when the reckoning fully revealed itself. For long moments, both ships hung in space, sizing each other up. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Ravi Patil announced, surprise evident in his voice. I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely directed at us. Put it through." The sound that filled the bridge wasn't language as humans understood it. It was rhythmic, mathematical, patterns of sound that seemed to encode meaning beyond mere words. "Can we translate?" Elena asked. Dr. Chen, who had joined them on the bridge, was already working at a console. "It's going to take time, but there are structures here, mathematical constants. I think they're establishing basic communication protocols." "Keep working on it," Elena ordered, then addressed Patel. "Send a response. Basic mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, the value of pi, anything universal." For hours, the two ships exchanged increasingly complex signals. The alien vessel maintained its distance, making no aggressive moves, but also showing no signs of retreating. "I think we've established enough of a common framework," Chen finally announced. "We can attempt limited communication." "Ask them who they are," Elena said, "and why they destroy that world." Chen input the query into her translation matrix. The response came back almost immediately, and she paled as she read it. "What did they say?" Elena demanded. Chen looked up, her expression shocked. "They call themselves the Preservers. And they say they're saving the galaxy from us." Before Elena could respond, the ship rocked violently as energy cascaded across its shields. "They're firing," Okafor shouted. "Multiple energy weapons, configuration unknown." "Return fire," Elena ordered calmly. "Target their propulsion systems. I want them disabled, not destroyed." The Reckoning's advanced weapons sprung to life, lancing out with precisely calculated force. The alien vessel moved with surprising agility, avoiding most of the barrage, but several hits connected. "Direct hit on what appears to be a main engine node," Okafor reported. "Their movement is becoming erratic." The alien ship fired again, this time with what appeared to be gravity weapons that distorted space around the Reckoning. Warning lights flashed across multiple consoles. "Structural integrity compromised on decks 9 through 11, Wei reported. "Shields at 64% and dropping." Elena's mind raced. The Reckoning carried prototype weapons that hadn't been field-tested, theoretical applications of physics that might give them an edge, but could just as easily tear their own ship apart. "Prepare the quantum resonance cannon," she ordered. Wei's head snapped up. "Captain, that system is untested. The power requirements alone cold." "That's an order, Commander. Target their central section only." As the battle continued, the Reckoning took increasingly serious damage. 2 more direct hits sent cascading failures through auxiliary systems, but the quantum resonance cannon, a weapon designed to temporarily disrupt the fundamental forces binding matter, was finally ready. "Fire," Alina commanded. A beam of scintillating energy erupted from the Reckoning's main emitter, striking the alien vessel at its core. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, spectacularly, portions of the alien ship's hull began to lose cohesion, geometric patterns dissolving into disordered matter. "It's working," Chen exclaimed. "The resonance effect is disrupting their hull integrity." The alien vessel tried to retreat, but its damaged propulsion couldn't generate enough speed. The Reckoning pursued, maintaining the quantum beam's focus until finally, with a silent flash of light, the alien ship's central core collapsed. "Target neutralize," Okafor reported, a note of awe in her voice. Reading multiple smaller structures breaking away from the main vessel. "Escape pods," Wei suggested. "No, they're too small. More like." Chen studied the sensor readings, data nodes or memory cores. "They're preserving information." Helena made a split-second decision. Capture one of those nodes. Tractor beam, full containment protocols. Hours later, in the Reckoning's high-security research bay, Alina stared at the alien artifact floating in a containment field. About the size of a human head, it pulsed with inner light and occasionally reshaped itself, as if alive. "It's a biomechanical construct," Chen explained, monitoring it through multiple sensors. "Part technology, part living tissue. And it's still active." "Can we communicate with it?" Alina asked. "I believe so. It seems designed to preserve and transmit information. In a way, it's like a combination of a black box and an ambassador." "Let's find out what it has to say." Using the translation matrix they developed, they established contact with the alien node. Its responses appeared as text on their screens. "We are preservers. We maintain the balance." Alina typed a response. "Why are you destroying worlds with life on them?" "The infecton spreads. Your kind carries it. All worlds like yours must be teleanacid." "What infection?" "We carry no disease that threatens other species." "You are disease. Your evolution PTTRN LEADs to only one OUTCOM. Consumption, expansion, destruction. We AAVSENed 1,000 times. Alina glanced at Chen, whose face had gone pale. "You're saying you've encountered species like humans before?" "Many times, across many galaxies. The PTRN is always the same. You consume your world, then you spread to others, consuming them too, until nothing remains." "That's not our destiny," Alina argued. "Humanity has learned from its mistakes. We're developing sustainable technologies, preserving our ecosystems. The PATRN cannot to be broken. We have is to divide your kind for centuries. Your trajectory is fixed, mathematical certainty. And your solution is genocide, destroying every Earth-like planet where species like us might evolve. It is preservation of a greater whole, the few for the many. The balance must be maintained." A chill ran down Alina's spine. "How many worlds have you destroyed?" "Countless, across eons, We are the MUMNERESTVONSE of the Galactic. There's another Earth-like planet in your path, Elena said, with developing sentient life. You're planning to destroy it next, aren't you? Yes. The Keely Insing can no to stop. Elena straightened, her decision made. We're going to prove you wrong. Humanity isn't the disease you think we are. She turned to Chen. How long until the Preserver fleet reaches that planet? Based on their current trajectory, approximately 36 hours. Set course immediately. Maximum speed. Elena's eyes hardened as she looked at the alien node. We're going to show you what humanity really stands for. Extinction Protocol. As the ESS Reckoning dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, the bridge fell silent. On the main view screen, a beautiful blue-green planet hung against the velvet backdrop of space. Proxima b, sometimes called Eden by human astronomers, was evolving its first complex land organisms. In 1 billion years, it might develop its own spacefaring civilization, if it survived the next 24 hours. Status of the Preserver fleet, Captain Elena Reeves asked, her voice steady despite the exhaustion etched into her features. Lieutenant Okafor consulted her tactical display. Long-range sensors confirmed 13 vessels approaching from the system's outer boundary. They'll reach Eden in approximately 22 hours. And our captured Preserver node, still active in containment, Commander Wei reported. Dr. Chen has extracted significant data from it. Elena nodded. I'll be in the lab. Commander Wei, you have the bridge. In the research lab, Dr. Chen had dark circles under her eyes from sleepless nights studying the alien construct. The node floated in its containment field, pulsing with inner light as if alive and watching. What have you learned? Elena asked without preamble. Chen gestured to complex holographic displays surrounding her workstation. They're ancient, Captain. Far older than humanity. The Preservers have been cleansing planets for millions of years, possibly billions. They believe they're maintaining cosmic balance by committing genocide. In their view, it's more like preventative medicine. Chen brought up a series of simulations. Look at these projections they've run. According to their models, species like humans, carbon-based, intelligent, tool users from planets with certain atmospheric conditions, always followed the same evolutionary path. The simulation showed planet after planet being consumed by its native species, resources depleted, before those species spread outward in waves of colonization, repeating the pattern across multiple star systems. They claim it's mathematical certainty, Chen continued. Based on observations of thousands of species across multiple galaxies over eons, they believe all species like us eventually consume everything in their path, like a cancer. Elena frowned. And they appoint themselves the galaxy's immune system. Essentially, yes. They wait until a planet reaches a certain developmental threshold, then eliminate it before the infection can spread. But we've changed course, Elena argued. Look at Earth's environmental restoration projects, our sustainable colonies, our preservation efforts. Chen looked troubled. I showed the node that data. It says those are temporary anomalies, statistical noise in an otherwise inevitable pattern. According to their calculations, we'll revert to consumption and expansion within 3 generations. Elena's jaw tightened. So they won't be reasoned with. I don't think so, no. Elena studied the alien node, its pulsing light almost hypnotic. What about their technology? Have you determined how they destroy planets? Yes. Chen pulled up another display showing complex molecular structures. They use what I can only describe as entropy acceleration fields. They selectively target the molecular bonds of organic compounds in water, essentially unraveling the building blocks of life. It's elegant in a horrifying way. And can we counter it? Chen hesitated. Theoretically, the quantum resonance cannon we used against their scout ship operates on similar principles, if we reverse-engineered the frequency. Do it, Elena ordered. Use whatever resources you need. As she turned to leave, the node pulsed brighter and text appeared on a nearby screen. Your resistance is XP. It is part of TGE PATKRN. Elena stared at the message. We'll see about that. Hours later, Elena stood in a restricted section of the ship that few crew members even knew existed. Behind a triple-secured bulkhead was a chamber containing a single cylinder, approximately 2 meters tall. It pulsed with subtle blue light. General Takashi Yamamoto, Earth Defense Force High Command, appeared on a secure channel. His weathered face showed concern. You're actually considering using the Genesis protocol. I see no alternative, General, Elena replied. The preservers won't be reasoned with, and conventional weapons won't stop their fleet. The protocol was developed as an absolute last resort, Captain. It's never been field-tested. The theoretical models suggest it could be as destructive as what we're trying to prevent. I understand the risks. Yamamoto's expression hardened. Do you? The Genesis protocol doesn't just destroy. It rewrites fundamental physical laws within its radius. If the containment field fails, it could create a cascade effect that might spread indefinitely, which is why we'll deploy it with every safeguard, Elena said firmly. General, the preservers have destroyed countless civilizations before they could even evolve. They're coming for Earth next. The protocol is our only chance. After a long pause, Yamamoto nodded heavily. Authorization granted. May whatever gods might exist have mercy on us all. The transmission ended, leaving Elena alone with the weight of what she'd just been permitted to do. The Genesis Protocol, humanity's darkest secret, an experimental weapon that manipulated the quantum vacuum itself, not to destroy, but to transform. Captain to the bridge. Wei's voice came over the comms. The preserver fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Eden in less than 3 hours. The next hours passed in a blur of preparations. The Reckoning positioned itself in orbit around Eden, its systems reconfigured for the unprecedented task ahead. The captured node had been integrated into their defensive systems, providing crucial data on preserver technologies. Final status report, Elena demanded as the preserver fleet approached. Genesis protocol prepped and ready, reported Chief Engineer Dominguez. Containment fields at maximum integrity. Defensive systems online, added Okafor. Quantum shields modified per Dr. Chen's specifications. Elena took a deep breath. Open a channel to the preserver fleet. After a moment, Paddle confirmed. Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Elena Reeves of the Earth Spaceship Reckoning. We know why you're here, and we cannot allow you to destroy this world. We propose an alternative solution, one that breaks the pattern you've observed across the galaxy. For long moments, there was no response. Then the main screen filled with shifting, geometric patterns that somehow conveyed meaning even without words. There is no ATV. The PTTERN is fixed. Stand aside, or be flee and seed with THENFCTED world. You're wrong, Elena replied. We've studied your data, your observations across millions of years. Your models fail to account for true sentient choice, the ability to recognize patterns and break them. IRRELEVANT, the mathematical certainty remains. Then we have nothing more to discuss. As the transmission ended, the preserver fleet entered weapon range. Their massive ships, each a kilometer long and shaped like elaborate crystalline structures, moved with eerie coordination. They're deploying entropy accelerators, Chen warned. Targeting Eden's atmosphere. Activate quantum shields, Elena ordered. Full coverage of the planet. The Reckoning's experimental shields expanded, creating a barrier between Eden and the approaching fleet. The first preserver attack hit with blinding intensity, cascades of energy washing against the shields. Shields holding at 82%, Wei reported. But they won't last against sustained bombardment. Elena nodded grimly. Deploy countermeasures. Target their lead vessel. The Reckoning's weapons fired, streams of focused energy striking the closest preserver ship. Its crystalline structure absorbed most of the impact, redistributing the energy among its components. Minimal damage, Okafor reported. They're adapting to our weapon's frequency. Another barrage from the preservers hammered the Reckoning shields. Warning lights flashed across multiple stations. Shields at 61%, Wei announced. 2 more hits like that, and Eden will be exposed. Elena's moment of decision had arrived. Prepare the Genesis protocol for deployment. Target the space between us and the preserver fleet. Dr. Chen looked up sharply. Captain, if we deploy the protocol here, Eden will be within the effect radius. We don't know how it will impact developing life. The alternative is certain destruction, Elena replied. Begin countdown. As the preserver fleet closed in for the kill, the Reckoning's special cargo bay opened. The cylindrical Genesis device moved into position, its blue glow intensifying. Genesis protocol deploying in 30 seconds, the ship's AI announced calmly. The captured preserver node, still in its containment field, pulsed rapidly with light. Text appeared on a nearby screen. Wait are you doing? This is not in any PTTRN. We have obese as or vid. Elena allowed herself a small smile. That's the point. 10 seconds to activation, the AI continued. The preserver fleet suddenly halted its advance, as if sensing something unprecedented was about to occur. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Genesis protocol activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then from the Genesis device erupted a sphere of light, unlike anything human eyes had ever witnessed. Not blinding, but somehow more real than reality itself. It expanded outward at an impossible rate, enveloping first the Reckoning, then the preserver fleet, and finally Eden itself. Where the light touched, matter changed. Not destroyed, but transformed at a fundamental level. The laws of physics themselves seemed to shift and rewrite within the sphere's influence. On the bridge, the crew watched in awe as the preserver ships neither exploded nor disintegrated, but simply evolved. Their rigid crystalline structures becoming fluid, organic, alive in a way they hadn't been before. What's happening? Wei whispered. Dr. Chen stared at her readings in disbelief. The protocol isn't destroying them. It's changing the fundamental information structure of matter itself. Introducing possibilities. The sphere continued to expand, its edge now reaching Eden's atmosphere, where it touched the developing planet. Cascades of rapid change spread through ecosystems, not destroying life, but accelerating its diversification. The Genesis protocol is working exactly as theorized, Elena said quietly. It's not a weapon of destruction, but of transformation. It breaks deterministic patterns by introducing true quantum uncertainty into closed systems. The preserver node in containment pulsed erratically, struggling to process what it was witnessing. New text appeared. This violates all models, all predictions. What have you doing? We've broken your pattern, Elena replied simply. We've introduced choice. As the Genesis field stabilized, the preserver ships hung motionless in space, their structures now organic, pulsating with new forms of life. Communication signals between them had ceased. They're changing, Chen reported, studying sensor data. The rigid programming that drove them for millions of years is being rewritten. They're developing true sentience, individual choice. Elena turned to the captured node. You were right that patterns exist, but you missed something crucial about species like humans. We can recognize our patterns and choose to break them. That's what makes us different. The node's light pulsed slowly, almost thoughtfully. New text appeared. Unprecedently. Recalculating. But the victory came at a cost. Warning alarms blared throughout the Reckoning as systems began to fail. Captain, Chief Engineer Dominguez called from engineering. The Genesis field is affecting our systems too. Core containment is destabilizing. We need to evacuate the ship. How long do we have? Elena asked calmly. 20 minutes at most before catastrophic failure. Elena nodded. Begin evacuation procedures. Launch all escape pods toward the edge of the system. As the crew raced to the escape pods, Elena remained on the bridge, working furiously at her console. Dr. Chen hesitated at the exit. Captain, we need to go. Not yet, Elena replied without looking up. Someone needs to ensure the Genesis field stays contained. If it expands beyond this system, the consequences could be unpredictable. That's a suicide mission. Elena finally met her gaze. Some patterns are worth breaking, Doctor. Go. Make sure humanity understands what happened here. With tears in her eyes, Chen nodded and left. Minutes later, the last escape pod jettisoned from the Reckoning, carrying the remaining crew and the captured preserver node. Alone on the bridge, Elena initiated the final sequence. The Genesis field had to be contained, its effects limited to this one system. She routed all remaining power to the quantum resonance cannon, modified to create a boundary that would prevent the field from spreading further. As systems failed around her, Elena looked out at Eden, now glowing with accelerated life, and at the transformed preserver ships, their rigid purpose dissolved into new possibilities. Sometimes the answer isn't destruction, she whispered to herself. It's transformation. The Reckoning's power core went critical, but instead of a conventional explosion, the ship itself dissolved into the Genesis field, becoming part of the new possibility space it had created. 6 months later, the survivors of the Reckoning arrived back at Earth aboard a rescue vessel. They brought with them the preserver node, now transformed into something new. A repository of ancient knowledge freed from its deterministic programming. In a secure chamber deep beneath Earth's unified government headquarters, Dr. Chen presented their findings to the assembled leaders of humanity. The preservers weren't evil, she explained. They were trapped in a pattern of their own, unable to conceive of alternatives to what they'd observed across billions of years. Captain Reeves broke that pattern, not through destruction but transformation. And this, Genesis Protocol, one of the leaders asked. Could it be weaponized? That's missing the point entirely, Chen replied sharply. The protocol doesn't destroy. It introduces choice where there was only determinism before. It's not a weapon, but a key. She gestured to the transformed node, now a shimmering sphere of light that responded to thought and emotion rather than rigid programming. This entity contains the accumulated knowledge of a species billions of years old. It's offering to share that knowledge, not as dictates but as possibilities. In return, it asks only that we continue to break patterns, to prove that determinism isn't the final word. And Eden? Another leader inquired. The planet they were going to destroy. Chen smiled. Life there is evolving at an accelerated rate, but more importantly, it's evolving along paths the preservers never predicted. New patterns, new possibilities. Captain Reeves didn't just save one world. She changed how an ancient species sees the universe itself. As the discussions continued, Shen slipped away to a quiet balcony overlooking the restored forests of Earth. She held in her hand a small crystal, a fragment of the Reckoning recovered from the Genesis field. Within it, patterns of light shifted and changed, never repeating, never fixed. You were right, Elena, she whispered. Some patterns are worth breaking. In the vast darkness between stars, something new was spreading. Not destruction, not consumption, but possibility. The rigid mathematics of certainty giving way to the quantum reality of choice. Humanity had delivered its verdict on determinism, and the galaxy would never be the same.